Cool, so we're live for the Christmas Watch Along special. I know most of you that watch my channel will know who you are, but if you want to introduce yourself, on you go.
My name is Mekz, WrestleManiac UK. That is the channel name, the Instagram name, the Twitter name, podcast, everything, WrestleManiac UK. And it's great to be back here with yourself, Barry, on non-stop wrestling chat to do this watch along, one of my fave matches. So we'll get into that in a bit.
You're becoming a regular on the channel, man. To be honest with you, it's becoming a privilege having you on. But you seem
I love it.
You seem not to piss as many people off as me, but because I seemingly put up a video and then lose subscribers and get called a cunt every day, so it's just what happens. But it's IWC, isn't it, man? So why did you pick this match? Because I remember back in the day, back when I was a 8-year-old when this came on, sitting with like the magazine and had the cutouts of the pictures, and it's the end in the magazine, and I had to see it. It was a couple of years later when I got it in the TAD Classic DVDs. But why did you pick this one?
So just to tell everyone the match, it is Triple H versus Cactus Jack in No Way Out 2000 Hell in a Cell. Triple H was defending the WWE title or WWF title back then. Again, you know, I'm guessing we're probably about a similar age. I was probably about 8 or 9 when I saw this, and it was very pivotal for me because Triple H was obviously just a bad guy. And, you know, when you're younger, all you know is, okay, this is the good guys, this is the bad guys. And I just didn't like Triple H because it was always against my favorites in Austin, always against The Rock and all of them kind of people. Mm-hmm. And Mick Foley or Cactus Jack, I was very impartial about because I thought, okay, he's a good guy, but like, he doesn't look like a wrestler. He just looks like a, you know, if with all due respect, he looks a bit homeless. Like he just... He like, what is this guy doing here? So I never really had an opinion as a child on him, apart from this guy does crazy stuff. And yeah, it was two wrestlers I was more or less very on the fence about. And they put on this terrific match. The entire feud, to be fair, was amazing. Every single match. And then, yeah, this one is one of the most memorable ones for me. In just the violence. Again, if you remember back to being an 8-9-year-old watching something like this, this is like mind-blowing stuff. And yeah, the level of violence, this is what a lot of us wish that our wrestling could kind of get back to. And yeah, this is why all the things that kind of stayed with me after this match. I was a big fan of Triple H, still one of my favorites today. I know he's not so much active. And, you know, as I got older, I came to understand over this feud what Mick Foley done for Triple H, how he bumped for Triple H and all of that kind of stuff to really put Triple H across as, you know, one of the best heels in WWF, WWE history, if we're completely honest with ourselves. So, yeah, this match is a feud means a lot to me, to be honest.
Man, definitely. See, the Royal Rumble match that they had as well. They had one like a few years back from that. It was like on a Raw. It was a street fight. They had like what looked like an old pasting table for the wallpaper that was out and stuff like that. And it's just fantastic. But like you says, when you're younger, you don't really. It's just like, this is my favourite guy, and that's it. But Triple H was a bad guy, and Cactus Jack, like you said, kind of looked homeless. I mean, I'm going for that look with the what I'm doing, but back when I was younger, I was like, this guy just doesn't look that good. But then when you get older and you realise what's happening and stuff like that, you're like, oh, this guy really, really helped to put Triple H over. Yeah. And we need to talk about the violence, man. It's what's missing from today's. I know AEW try it, and I know GG and Wrestling's either going to listen to this and probably say that I'm talking shit, but the violence feels a wee bit hokey in AEW as well. It's just, they're missing that grittiness from wrestling, and that's kind of, like you said, we're similar ages, so 8-9-year-old, we're sitting watching like people going through hell in a cells, bleeding all the time, and then you come up now and it's like zombies, and you're like, fuck. Well, I must have got old and missed something.
This is exactly it. I mean, with AEW, they're trying to bring it back to wrestling where necessary. Obviously, we've recently seen Cody go through a flaming table where that wasn't necessary at all. But where necessary to try to bring it back. But I just feel like whether it's because we're older, we have more common sense, or whether because of all the everyone's a bit more sensitive these days. Everything needs to be done a bit more safer, and it does take away the oh my god element from it, because you can, like, Cody for this fire spot was wearing like fire safety stuff on his back. You could see it all throughout the match. So, back in the day, in the good old days, as they would say, they don't do stuff like that. If they're going through a flaming table, they're going through a flaming table. There's no precautions, whether you like it or not. Yeah, that's what we mean. It's not that people should be endangering themselves, but it's just a bit more organic back in the day.
Oh, we look at Edge and Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22, the flaming table spot. They had a t-shirt on. Put a t-shirt on. You don't need to go out with like the stuff rubbed all over again. It's so obvious. And then
that's exactly it.
A couple of days later on social media, he posted a picture with like his skin peeling, and it's like, how did you botch how did you mess that up? But we can say Cody Rhodes one was totally a waste of table completely. I don't know why he done it. I was like, look, when I was watching it, I was like, why are you doing this? Like, it's like a Wednesday night. Calm down. Save this for a pay-per-view. But just always feel Cody is one of those guys, and this is me on my AEW right now. Thanks. That's all the time, Mekz. Every time I've always went in a rant with you. Is they just throw everything sometimes. Like, it's like opening match. It's like Daniel Bryan versus somebody. You're like, just slow down. Build the card the way it's meant to be. It doesn't need to be like. And then Raw has started it. It's like, you know what we're going to do? First thing, cage match. What are we doing? What's happening now?
I mean, to be honest, I think with Cody is just on his own mission. Like, Cody doesn't feel like for a long time, he's done anything that's, tied to the rest of the show. He just seems like he's just doing his own thing because he's EVP. He can call the shots, whatever. With the whole, putting the main eventers on first, I just think it's a good way to maybe as well, we're all about talking about ratings and stuff. If you start your weekly TV show with the best match, then ultimately everyone's going to tune in from the jump. When they take those ratings, skimmings, some may say it takes a false, narrative, because obviously you put the best match first and people aren't staying the whole thing to watch the best match in the usual main event spot. It's maybe some tactical stuff, who knows? But they're trying something new, I guess. So
Can you change my mind when you're watching like CM Punk versus Darby Allin? I know that wasn't the opening match, but say it was, right? And then you've got like Jungle Boy comes out next. All power to the guy. He's cool in the ring. That's not the next match after that. Like, that just it's not to pace the card backwards, but that's another one of my rants. But man, Cody does feel like he just does like this. It's like you've got AEW wrestlers, champions, and then just Cody Rhodes just over here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He might as well have his own. Yeah, he might as well have his own show, because it's like Dynamite, Rampage, Dark Elevation, and whatever Cody's doing with whoever. Like, I don't know how they're. And obviously this week he's going to face Sammy for the TNT title. I personally think he probably wins it, but we'll wait and see. But yeah,
man, he's so easy to hate as well, isn't he? Like, he's a natural heel, and just like with the hair and everything, and then you just see him. And he's always trying to be like a good guy, and you're like, go on, and just let us hate you. We're all signed up to hate you. Just let me boo you. That's all I want.
I think he thinks that he's John Cena of AEW. So, like, he has to play this role where, okay, they're going to hate me, but I have to continue being the good guy. And no, you don't, because that is probably, for us as fans that, watch John Cena come up and everything like that, that's probably one of the missed opportunities for John Cena, at the height of his popularity, turning heel. Like, Hogan done it, and it brought great things, added longevity to his career. So John Cena should have. I still want Cody to turn heel. I still want him to go back on his word and go after the AEW World title and win it. So yeah, hopefully they can, break the norm, break the mold on that.
Man, the Cena not turning heel was one of those things. It's like, you can just come back for a couple of months and be a bad guy. It's all we want to see. And then, like you said, Cody thinking he's John Cena of AEW is just the most awkward thing ever, because I don't know, that tattoo and just everything. I'm like, oh,
awful.
Like, I like tattoos, but that just looks really bad. Like, the rest of your body, anywhere else but right in your neck.
And it's coloured. That's the thing. It's not even like it's like, like a regular tattoo. It's like coloured and just in your face. Like, so I don't even know if it fits his character, heel or face. It's just like this awkward thing just there. Like I remember when he first got it, I was just hoping to God that was a like one of them stick-on tattoo things.
He got it in a packet of crisps and he's like just wetted it and put it on his neck. Like, please don't.
I was hoping that's what it was, and then I was thinking the whole time, how did your wife let you get that? Like, that's crazy. Horrible tattoo.
I know, man. All my tattoos, I need to ask my partner, do you think this looks all right? Because if I came in with something stupid, she'd be like, what are you doing? You need to go get that took off. And I would need to spend extra to try and get it took off, have it covered up and stuff like that. But, aye, man, that's his already moaning about AEW. But let's get into the watch along. So what we'll do is we'll probably still continue ranting about stuff because this is going to be a good match. And today's wrestling is sometimes, most of the time, a wee bit hard to watch. But what do you want to hit? You want to hit play when we count to 3, or do you want to count on 3 after 3? How do you work the counting to 3?
You can count to 3, and on 3 we'll hit play.
Right, 1, 2, 3.
Cool.
I think I've got it at the same time now. Even the entrances and stuff like that, man, like it always looked cooler, like the
staging.
Ring. Aye, it just like now you've obviously got that big like TV looking weird thing that was always annoys me, but aye, I'm already starting moaning about
Triple H and Stephanie together were just brilliant, man. Honestly. And this belt, what do you think of this belt? This the old WWF belt.
Man, I love this one. This was like the one I grew up really. This was the time that I really got into wrestling, so I was like balls deep in it at this point. So this is the belt I remember, and then the big WCW gold one. So those two are always in my mind just the best looking ones. But what do you think? Do you like this one or?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I guess to be honest, I didn't really know much different at the time. But my favorite world title belt, I guess, is probably the undisputed title, the one that Dead Man Undertaker had. Triple H. Didn't Triple H have it? I think Triple H had it for a period. Brock Lesnar, Rock. That title for me, like up to this day, if there's one title I'm ever gonna buy in this life, that's the one. Like,
I'm kind of biased, man. You've got pillows and shit with my fucking my favorite.
No, that I do love the big gold belt, as it's called, the WCW title. That's a sick.
I think the undisputed era, the undisputed one had like a UFC kind of feel to it, like early MMA, like felt legitimate to it as well. Just it looked nice, but then whatever they've done to them now, man, I just fucking.
It's just every company now, all they just do is like stick their company name right in the center of the belt, like, AEW have done it, WWE have done it with their Universal title and the WWE title.
And pretty much every title just looks like a big like kids just went with a crayon. WWE. There you go. That's all we need. Also, I loved this Hell in the Cell. I know they changed it like 2006 to like a really shiny one when it was Big Man and Big Show and stuff was in there. But this one, the kind of grungy feel to it, it felt dangerous as well when like they were in there. And then you look at when they had that red one, which I think they've still got. It's just
it doesn't look menacing. It just doesn't look menacing. Like, and I mean, we've spoken before about how Hell in a Cell is just they literally just throw it out in any occasion sort of thing, but like it just doesn't look like something that I'm scared to enter. That and the Elimination Chamber these days. The Elimination Chamber looks like a jungle gym.
The very first Elimination Chamber was you just felt like it was brutal. And then, like it says now, you're just like, this isn't no fear whatsoever to go into this. I think I could go in and do this.
Yeah, it looks like, remember you have in the playground, those like upside down, it's like a bowl looking thing that you climb on, climbing frame, I think it's called. Yeah, it just looks like something like that. Looks like it should have like a slide and swings next to it.
Could take my kids to do in the summer and just be like, here you go play an Elimination Chamber.
That's exactly it. Like, it doesn't look mad at all.
I was watching yesterday, Undertaker versus Randy Orton Hell in a Cell, because I've only seen it a few times. It's a lot better than I remember, and I was like, this is actually...
I need to watch that back. I can't remember that match.
It's pretty bloody as well. And then obviously...
What year was that from?
2004, maybe 5.
Okay.
All runs together. It was at Armageddon one year, so I think it might have been 2005.
Okay.
But it was pretty good. Same as Taker and Brock Lesnar as well. That one's pretty
Hell
fun
in
to
a
watch.
Cell.
Aye.
When was that?
2002, was it 2? 3?
Okay, that one, yeah.
Maybe 3.
Okay. Yeah.
No, the most recent one when Taker just looks like he shouldn't be in the ring because he looks like
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
like me after I've like been out at the pub or something. Anything after 2016, I try and avoid going back and watching just now because it's no.
Yeah, it's not the same. We do still get some really good matches and stuff, but
you don't get like a classic show like the even this No Way Out is you've got Kane X-Pac on it, which is a really good match. Jericho Angle as well, and you get like a show that you really remember. But I don't think you get top to bottom great show anymore. AEW had 1 or 2 great pay-per-views, MLW as well this year, but WWE's ones have been pretty forgetful.
I think on WWE's cards, there's usually about for a lot of the time, I don't know if you've noticed over the pandemic as well, the pay-per-views have become slightly shorter, maybe more like 3-hour shows, 3.5-hour tops. And I feel like you get a lot of if we have 8 matches on the card, 3 to 4 of them will be 4 stars, I would say, like probably like 4 out of 5 stars, and the rest are dire. Like the rest might not even be a 3 out of 5. But it's, I guess they're trying to put people on the card, they're trying to pay people and stuff like that, but sometimes just make the card feel special, you know.
You just wonder why are you paying these people? Just give us something a bit better. And if you're saying there 3.5 hours is a short show, this pay-per-view is only like 2.5 hours, I think it is. And that's like a really good pay-per-view. You got an amazing match here, and just with some brutal stuff in it and storytelling throughout it, heading into like Mania and stuff like that. But you just really like recently for Raw, they're homing it in. They're just like, let's just get to Royal Rumble. We've got that day one thing coming. We'll book some stuff. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, at least we've got the Rumble. Let's just get to there and hopefully things work better.
Yeah, it's true. But this is where, you know, I've spoken before on my channel about they got something like King of the Ring. You have King of the Ring, you have a tournament where you could make good stories out of, that you could make longer than you actually make it with just 8 names. And it can carry you over, you know, a certain period until we get to something like Royal Rumble on the horizon. But you guys rush it. You give us all the whole tournament in like a 2-week span. And then it's like you're back to twiddling your thumbs rather than, you know, planning it out and making that be your creative.
Man, don't even get me started on my rant about King of the Ring. Even the King of the Ring was a whole pay-per-view that had a whole month lead up at this point in WWF, and then now it's like, here's a couple of names, and the Queen Crown, whatever it was called, was terrible. It was embarrassing. It was like 2-minute matches, and that was it.
It was very poor for an inaugural tournament as well. It was very, very poor.
I always loved the look between Triple H and Cactus Jack as well, because Cactus Jack, like you said, looks out of shape, looks homeless, hair all over the place, and ear missing, all that kind of stuff. And Triple H is like jacked, like the poor
jacked,
easier to hate looking guy. And then Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, what you want to call him, is like the lovable hairy guy.
Even here, you can see just how young Triple H looked. Like, and he was already, you know, by this time, I'm pretty sure he was already like a 2-time world champion.
I think so. I love these stuff that comes up later. So obviously 2003, 4, when people are always like, "Oh, it was too much Triple H." It's like he was fantastic. Like he literally carried WWE for a long time.
Look, this is why you're my guy. I absolutely love the Reign of Terror. I don't care what anybody says. I know there were some questionable decisions in there, and that's looking back on it again now as an adult and all of that kind of stuff. But at the time, him, Ric Flair, Batista, Randy Orton, the stuff they put Goldberg through, the stuff they put Scott Steiner through, yeah, I couldn't get enough of that. Rob Van Dam as well.
You wouldn't want to take the belt off Triple H at that time, even if it was, looking back, you're like, you could have lost it here or there, but you don't want to just take it away from somebody that's over and was really the only link to the Attitude Era that was still kind of there. Obviously, he had Taker and stuff, but he was on SmackDown, homing it in for his Fridays.
It's true. No, Triple H Evolution, they done some great stuff. And yeah, I was more than happy with Reign of Terror. I was more than happy with Evolution. I loved those guys and what they done there. The
soundtrack for, like the theme music for Evolution, is still some of the best that WWE's produced.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I was going to say about is back here, you've got, obviously, remember Kane's theme tune, DX, like all these guys have got, like even Triple H, Evolution, all that kind of stuff. Then you got me like nowadays, and it's like I can barely name like what somebody's theme tune sounds like Damien Priest. I'm like, I know he's got like an arrow thing that he does. I'm like trying to think about the tunes like.
Because I watch too much wrestling, I'm still pretty good with nowadays theme tunes and knowing whose is whose. But I agree with you that none of them are standoutish. Like they're all very much just. You know, Maurice, obviously she turned up on Raw this last night, sorry. And when she came out, obviously Maurice has different kind of music, but her music has changed since we last seen her. And when her music played, I just thought this could have just been any generic song. When she came out last night, I was thinking, what is this? Like, this doesn't say nothing about the character or anything like that. And that's the problem with most of these soundtracks these days. They don't reflect who they are. Like Mick Foley's back in the day, it was the car crash. So it was the car screech before. Like, Triple H has iconic music. The Rock has iconic music. Austin, probably the best music ever. Like, most recognizable anyway. With the glass breaking at the beginning, you don't get those anymore.
Like even that Bret Hart, the minute that like the tune for Bret Hart hits, people are like, "Oh, I know who's coming new."
It's like a guitar, isn't it? The guitar for Bret Hart.
It's like a riff or something, and you're just like, "That's It's going to be a good night." And then, like I say, even though I still watch wrestling, for some reason it just tunes it. It's like just all feels quite similar. And then you go to like Impact Wrestling when you've got the Iconics there who have made like a music video for it, and it's just so embarrassing. You're like, oh, it's just horrible to see.
Yeah, that their music video. When I saw that for the first time, I watched it and I thought, okay, I get what you're trying to do here, but like, if we get every week, that's a bit like overkill.
It's just awkward, man.
It's awkward. It is.
It's like The Rock singing now, isn't it? Like when he's trying to rap, and you're like, "What
he's trying to do his rap,
what you doing, man?" Just stay, but you're not even a good actor. Just stay in something like that. Come on.
Oh gosh.
Like this match has got a ton of violence in it already, and they've only used like 2 items, like a chair and a set of stairs.
Point, they haven't even left the ring yet. They haven't left the cell yet. It's funny because now you can see, as you get older as well, like all these holes in the cell. Mm-hmm. And obviously that's what they use to climb the cell, where they cut the wire and they've got holes for their feet and their hands. And back in the day, you just used to think they're just climbing the fence, regularly.
Just try to get in your skill, try to go up the fence at the side and stuff like that. Because they used to have like that chain kind of fence and masculine, and everybody used to try and climb it. And then everybody got into a lot of trouble for that because obviously you shouldn't be climbing fences.
Yeah. Mate.
I miss like blood on like a pay-per-view. I know AEW do it in other places, but WWE just the way they sell the blood look is always a lot better than what you see in like AEW. Like, obviously, production for WWE is insane, but I don't think we'll ever see them bleeding like we're used to seeing them back when we were younger.
Nah, it's not happening. If someone bleeds in WWE now, it's by mistake.
And then they get the gloves out and they stop the match and check people, and you're like, oh, come on, we know just go.
Have you seen the pictures? Have you seen on their website? If someone bleeds, they make the picture black and white.
Oh.
So that the red can't be seen, the color can't be shown.
It's shite.
It really is.
I just wish they would kept that edginess of wrestling. That's what made us as kids like it. It was that obviously they had characters for kids back then. You weren't interested in them. I wanted to see like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Cactus Jack, Undertaker. Like Undertaker was. We done the thing when he crucified Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was right into that, and then I'm older. I'm not going to show my kids that. What was I watching? But I get what they're doing. I just miss the.
It's not for us these days, man. AEW, I guess, is trying to tick that box of being the TV product that is for an older crowd, but and
they're failing.
You reckon they're failing?
No, they're not failing, but obviously when I love Twitter moaning about the ratings. I don't really care about the ratings, but they're moaning about it, and it's like if I was getting 900,000 views a week on my one video, I'd be all right.
Yeah.
Especially on YouTube, I'd be like, you can pay me that all you want. I'm happy with that, but I don't know. I don't think they're trying to please everybody instead of from being like, let's upset some part of the crowd or make them think more. I know everybody's just upset about Cody Rhodes being still a face, but it's because nobody likes the guy. Like when he went away for a bit, I didn't even notice he was away till they were like, Cody Rhodes is coming back, and I was like, oh shit, was he gone? I thought he was still here with that stupid tattoo, but I think they're doing a really good job. They over the last couple of years, the pace at which they have grown has been so fast, so rapidly. Yes, it's not perfect. There's still a lot to do and a lot to fix. But the ratings, again, I'm not someone that cares about the ratings, but the ratings is an interesting thing because I guess they've brought in the likes of Daniel Bryan, CM Punk to try and close the gap, if you like, or provide more steady figures. And currently, over the last few weeks, as of time of we're recording this, they have been in serious decline. CM Punk is on TV every week and it's not doing anything for them. So I think it's the Sting thing. So when these guys came in, I thought it was the exact same stuff that was going to happen when Sting came in. It was just he's going to talk next week, and you get that same stuff. Obviously, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever he's called now, I don't care. He comes out and does some good work. His wrestling's always fun to watch. But apart from that, what else is he really doing? And then he wins the thing to be like, oh, I'm the number one contender. And then you need to go through these 7 guys to get. What are you doing here? You're just annoying people. But I think maybe where AEW needs to fix, WWE's got the answer to it. Maybe hire a little bit of a writing team, some more creative people in there that's no wrestlers that maybe work in the backside of it better than what they've kind of got so far. But who knows? Wednesdays are always my fun night to watch wrestling anyway. I'm happy to watch it even though I'm moaning about it. And Mondays, Tuesday morning, should I say, is when I sit and just cry. Something like, what?
Ask yourself why you do this.
That's when you start contemplating why you're watching. Why am I doing these YouTube videos, man? This is I'm 30. I shouldn't be doing this. You know?
I mean, obviously, I used to do Raw reviews. Then I went from doing Raw reviews and to just kind of picking out like things in the show that I liked and talking about. And it came to a point a couple months ago where I'm thinking, I'm watching Raw, but there's actually nothing to talk about. Like I've watched the 3 hours of wrestling and like nothing's developed, nothing's happened, and things like that. Um, I think this was around the time where Bobby Lashley was having a great run as champion, but on a week-to-week basis, nothing was happening. Drew, if you remember, Drew couldn't face Bobby Lashley as champion anymore. So yeah, it was just like, what are we really doing here? Sort of thing. Damian Priest was US champion and not on TV. And it just became like, well, there's nothing to talk about. So now I don't have any videos for my channel. And I have to start doing other stuff. So yeah, but you know, you was talking about last night's Raw. I thought was pretty decent. I don't think it was great or anything. I saw a lot of people say it was really, really good and stuff. I think it was regular. It was okay. But where Raw has always been good is where you have a story to tell throughout the entire show. And that was obviously in this case, Bobby Lashley. Can he make the day one match a fatal 4-way? And they told that throughout the show. And it just keeps you intrigued, engaged for the entire time. And they've got enough time to do that. And I don't know why they don't do it on a regular basis, like every week.
You're making too much sense there, man. That's how they don't do it. No, last night's Raw as well. It just left me like, oh, is that it? I kind of at the start, you were like, they're going to add Lashley to it anyway. Just do it. Like, I would have loved to have seen that over like 3 weeks. Big main event, 15-minute match. Like him against Kevin Owens, he gets the win. Then him against Rollins, he gets a win, but it's a wee bit harder for him to get it. Then him against Big E, and he has to cheat to get the win. Then he gets added in. That would have been like 3 weeks storytelling. There you go. People want to watch it.
That's one way to do it.
They geese it on one night, but like you says, man, when they've got a storytelling, like something to every hour, like a wee main event every hour. You're like, you're doing all right, but you just sometimes you watch it and you're like, how did I used to? This went for Austin, Triple H, Taker, Cactus Jack, Mankind, Billy Gunn to.
But this is the thing. Even those days, and I was saying this earlier to a friend, I was like, even those days, you would still have the same formula. The show was still only 1 hour, 2 hours then. You'd still have the same formula. Okay, this is the main story that we're going to tell all night. You would have backstage segments, in the ring segments, Vince would be involved. And then whatever the story is, it would always end in complete bedlam in the main event of, you know, the match ending in some funny way, or the segment that followed the main event match, and then all the superstars come out. There's a crazy brawl or something. Like, this is how TV should be being written, especially for, you know, long shows like wrestling shows are 2-3 hour shows. Like, it's a proven formula, and one that, like we're saying, they don't use enough.
I think that horrible bump when he goes through the cells coming up soon.
Yeah. So in this match, obviously right now, Triple H, well, I'm watching anyway, I think you're in the same spot. Triple H has got he's just dropped the barbed wire, the plank barbed wire.
Yep.
They set this on fire, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's like coming up like soon. It's like as well when you watch this when we were kids, you remember this, it just feels special. Like it's like, I have to see this. Then you look at wrestling now and it's like, do I really need to see that? I can just wait. Like, get it on the network in a couple of months, it's fine.
Yeah. Like, even I remember these bits now where you can see Triple H's foot is poking through some of the barbed wire. Like, you can just tell back then when they put this thing together, it wasn't as strongly reinforced and all of that kind of stuff as it is today. Like, there is no chance today, unless it's gimmicked for the spot, that someone would go through a Hell in a Cell. There is zero chance of that happening. But right now, you can see like every step they take is a dangerous step. The whole cell is bending. There's some points where the cell is already broken and it shouldn't have been. Like, Yeah,
I just
you would be gasping with every spot watching this as a child, like, oh my god, they're about to go through. Like,
it's just like when they're doing moves up there as well. It's like now like they don't even go out really outside the Hell in the Cell. They
don't even
don't
leave
go on
it.
top
Yeah,
of it. They stay in the ring the majority of the time as well. What was it a couple of years ago? I think it was Sasha Banks and Bailey. Or was it last year? They were just in the ring the whole match. I think they left like once, and it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, you're Hell in the Cell. Hit somebody with something. Come on.
yeah. At best now, you see them both like both the opponents climb up the side of the cell and then like jump through a table on the side or something like that. I think am I right in thinking Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, they had a Hell in a Cell match when Drew was champion and they climbed on top of the ring.
I think so.
Climbed on top of the cell. I think I remember in the last year or so, Drew has been on top of that cell, but all they did, I think, was just punch each other a couple of times and then they came off it.
And Shane McMahon's the guy just coming right off it against Takeout Mania, wasn't it? He just right off the top, just doesn't care.
32, yeah. Right, so the 2x4 is on fire now.
Just saying that, talking about like the biggest wrestling company in the world. I've got a 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire. It's on fire as well.
So
and
this
now
was the spot.
It's PG.
Oh my god, that spot of him going through the top. And if I'm correct, that wasn't meant to happen.
I'm sure if it was meant to happen, it still hurt like shit, but
yeah, I don't think I've seen or it's a documentary or something where they said that wasn't meant to happen. Like he wasn't supposed to go through.
Does he kick out here? I'm sure he kicks out. And then they do like a wee finish, like a pedigree or something. Or maybe I've just made that up.
No, I do think this wasn't what pinned him. He didn't get pinned off the back of going through the top, I don't think.
Just sitting there as a kid, like, what the what are we going to do to get this guy? One of the worst Hell in the Cells for me is Triple H against Kevin Nash. Just it meant nothing. Like it was a Bad Blood.
Was that? Oh yeah, I was about to say yeah. It
was just such a weird, weird match.
So Triple H just climbed down into the cell. No, I can't remember. Is it this one, or maybe when Undertaker put Mankind through the cell? One of those spots wasn't supposed to happen.
I think it was Taker when he put him through the cell, like when he went through it the first time.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's not my hand, but Mick Foley, I think he's a bit underrated. When you go back and watch him against like Vader or Sting, some of the stuff he done with his body, you're like, like he jumps on top of like the ring fences and that. Like earlier on, I banged my toe under the door and it's nearly greeting like I was rolled up.
Nah, he definitely needs his flowers, man. Especially where obviously ECW was a thing. And we saw him over in ECW, GCW. Now we see him. He's involved somewhat. They brought him out for Moxley and Nick Gage's heavyweight championship match some months ago. But yeah, definitely a hardcore legend. Right. So we're getting the pedigree.
I mean, they could have just finished it with like gone through the ring,
falling through the top. Yeah,
they need to like get him up and like here's a pedigree as well.
Yeah,
but,
that's it. He's done him.
Just fantastic, and then he comes back at Mania as Mankind in that 4-way match, which at that time I didn't put 2 and 2 together. It was the same person.
It's the same guy.
It was years later, and I'm like, how did I not know that? It literally looks the same. I think it was it Rumble '99? The Ultimate Cactus Jack, Dude Bob from Mankind. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, they look a lot like each other. Which then when like now you see like somebody comes out with a stretcher, and you're like, that's not even sore. What's that doing? And then back when we used to watch it, we're seeing people like this gone through the cell, then a pedigree, and
You
still
literally
walks
be
it.
gasping. Yeah. It's mad.
It's such a contrast where wrestling, where it was in the early 90s when we were younger, before we were even watching that 93 period when it was all like the Doink the Clown shit and that. And then it went into this, which was like gritty, grungy kind of style when it had tons and tons of people watching it, like tens of millions worldwide.
Yeah.
And then it just steadily declined because there wasn't really any competition. And then we got like that 2010, 11, 12, 13 period where it went a wee bit weird.
Yeah.
And then it came back a wee
Hated
bit. And then I would say like now you just kind of just accept it, don't you? You're just like we've seen a lot of ups and downs, and we're just it's just the relationship we need to live with. You know, I mean, it's gonna get us down sometimes, but we just need to get through it.
Get through it, exactly.
And man, I always remember with us getting the magazines, and it used to have like the clips of the pay-per-view in it. So my mum would never let me stay up late to watch them, and she would never buy them. And I was like,
so how were you watching it then?
Back then, it was my uncle was taping it, and he would bring it round like 2 weeks later because he was in the army. So when he was coming back, he'd bring back like VHS, like just a big stack of them, and be like, "Here you go." And then I'd be like, just catching up on all the wrestling that I've missed. But you just rely on that Sky One morning period when it would show you videos of it. You get all your weekly wrestling, just
a little montage,
like a wee hour, and that's you just enjoying it. Back even when I was younger, Sky, NTL, stuff like that. I don't know if you remember NTL. They weren't in Scotland at all. Like 2000, late 99, 2000s when that started to get rolled out, because we just didn't have that. Back here it was like old, big, horrible satellite dishes in backyards and shit like that. So we ended up getting NTL, and that's when I was just like, wrestling's here forever now. But man, I just miss these. Like going back and watching this, just scratches that itch. Like I was watching the old NWA today, and even then everybody's getting busted open. No saying it was better back then when it was slower and stuff like that, but it just felt like every match feels like it's got a purpose and it really means something. And then like now you've got a Pizza Hut Battle Royale on a pay-per-view. Like
it felt big time back then. And you know, like we're saying, obviously we like our blood and all of that kind of stuff, but we like it when it means something. Not just, you know, people cutting themselves and blading just for no reason. Like blood doesn't necessarily enhance a match if it's not warranted.
Unless it's Ric Flair. Just any time that guy could be, just let him go for it.
He loves a bit of colour, Ric Flair.
Man, so heading up to the end of the watch along. So thanks obviously for being on, picking this awesome match to sit and watch it, because it's just delightful to watch. And it was just such a weird time in wrestling as well, because WCW here was like pretty balls. Like it was really really hard to watch.
Their decline,
and we like, the worst thing is, being at our age, we've seen the highest, one of the highest points wrestling has been at, and it just seems to have gradually fell right off the wagon, tripped down, then hit the ground, and just dragging that dead carcass for a wee bit. So hopefully, and I know people say like they make a ton of money and all that kind of stuff, but it just doesn't have the heart in it anymore. Like, you can make all the money you want, but if I don't really give a shit about it, I'm not going to go buy your t-shirts and stuff. And I'm like your core. I'm your core group you want to keep on here, because my kids, I'll get them to watch it. But so heading up, what's one reason why you love wrestling? What's that thing that somebody says to you, "Why are you watching this fake shit for?" Do you go, whoa, wait a minute, this is why I love it? What's your reason that you would put out there in the world?
I mean, it sounds obvious, but I think it's for the wrestling and the entertainment. Like, it's if you have a good wrestling match, it's super entertaining. I remember the Cruiserweight Classic from a couple years ago. Seeing some of those names come to WWE, even just for this tournament that just existed in its own universe, it was just brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Every match, there was no like silly. I say silly, but okay, like gimmick spots. There was no Hell in a Cell match or anything like that. This was just good wrestling, which was also very entertaining. There is no you know, people say it's fake and stuff like that. I tell them, but you watch TV, EastEnders, Curry, and all of that stuff. That's not real. Like, this is just those kind of stories, or ultimately should be those kind of stories being told through the wrestling art form. This is a TV show like the rest of that stuff. So yeah, and I think for me, it's the spectacle. Like, before, I was very much only WWE. By the time I knew about WWE, that's all I wanted to consume. Everything else I saw and thought, okay, that's wrestling, let me check it out. The TNAs and indies in general, I was literally had my nose up to them like, ew, yuck, what is this? Where is their Titron? Where is their lights? It looked like people were just recording stuff on their phones. Like, I didn't get to as far into, you know, actually enjoying that kind of wrestling, because it didn't look as nice and glossy as WWF, WWE did back in those days. Now, obviously, it's much different. I'm wiser. I'm not as ignorant. Like, I can look at it now and I'm watching it for the wrestling. But yeah, the spectacle of WWE show, WrestleManias, it's what it's about. It's under the bright lights. It's why we tune in, whether the product has been crap all year long. Once it's WrestleMania time, we watch, because it's that grand show that you're getting. So yeah,
Man, definitely. I come back to it. I don't care how shit it gets. I'll be here watching it, no matter. Could be Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre out there having a 2-hour, 3-hour match. I'd still watch it. I'll moan about it and hate it, but I'll just still sit there. I love it.
Yeah.
Plus, when anybody says it's fake, so when I used to wrestle, I broke my neck. It wasn't a wrestling move. It was at the side of the ring. I fell off and hurt my neck. But I always say, I broke my neck because of wrestling. And I was like, oh, did you? Aye. And I'm like, aye. It wasn't a move, but it was just me being stupid. But still, it's like, even though it's fake, what we just watched there, how do you learn to fall off a...
you
still,
don't.
if that was me, I'd shit myself. But I don't like heights. But I don't know how you would describe how your emotions for wrestling. It's just a thing that's there. And like you said, like EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, just let me enjoy it. It's gives sports, entertainment, and a storyline all in the same place. And I don't need to worry about being like... So one thing AEW do is you need to really concentrate on their storylines as well. Like you need to have watched Dark and the Young Bucks thing and looked at a Twitter post and shit, and you're like, gonna just tell me what I'm meant to do. Here, I'm here to watch this shit. Come on, don't start me. But man, thanks for being on. I'd recommend anybody to go check your channel. Your fantastic content, much better produced than what mine is, because I just sit here and shout about wrestling as a baldy Scottish guy. But hopefully that makes sense to most people, and go subscribe to you. Is there any video you want somebody to go check out first of you? Do you think you've had a banger out this year, or do you just want somebody to go check everything? Subscribe.
You can check out the last video, the video I put out yesterday. We spoke about, with tier ranks, the best women in wrestling in 2021. A lot of debate as to where some women are landing. With Britt Baker should have won the overall rankings. So yeah, that was a very good video, good conversation for everyone to check out.
Man, that definitely was a fantastic man. I was ranting with you. Said if I was there, I'd have probably been getting a few of my rants in as well. But man, thanks for being on. So what I'll do is I'll end the stream here and I'll let you know the after stuff.
No problem, man.